Hey all, welcome to Learn It. Today I'm going to discuss with you the strategies to self study embryology because most of the first year students are primarily dependent on their seniors to teach them embryology. Here I'm going to discuss with you how simple it is to self study embryology. So let's get started. So the major mistake done by most of the students, including myself, is we don't start off from the basics. We don't start from the first chapter. What we do, we look for the important questions. I'm telling you it from the university exam perspective. Okay, so what we do is we just look for the important topics, important questions. For example, if your senior says ki your pharyngeal arches lesson is very important, you straight away go to the lesson. You simply study the derivative of each and every arches, right? So, but what I would tell you is to get a better conceptual understanding of embryology, always try and start off from the basics. Okay, because embryology is is an increasingly complex phenomena. We study from a single cell, we study how an embryo is formed, how a baby is formed, right? So for studying this complex phenomena, you'll have to start from the basics. Only if you understand, only if you start off from how the cells multiply and then eventually form a blastocyst and all, only then you'll be able to understand the systemic embryology. So always start off from the basics. So this is the biggest mistake. For example, in the Singh, so in the initial chapters itself, they would have given you the definition for growth, the definition for differentiation, and they would have explained you clearly what an organizer is without studying, like without by skipping those chapters. And you encounter those terms like organizer, which is the primary organizer. You encounter these terms in your subsequent chapters, and at that point of time you don't understand, and you'll have to simply mug it up ki the primary organizer is so and so. So yeah, so what you'll have to do is you'll have to study the basics. Okay, whichever book you're following, just start off from the first chapter, go in that order itself. All right, so now let us discuss about the books to follow. So of course many of you would know that Langman's Medical Embryology is the gold standard book, and it has got beautifully illustrated diagrams which are realistic, and they help you connect. But again, for us, since we are preparing for our university exams, it's we don't really give much time, we don't spend much time to study embryology. If you're a person who studies every like along with the gross anatomy, if you have completed your embryology, then it's fine, you can go for such books for references again. Okay, otherwise what you can do is you can follow either textbook of clinical embryology by Vishram Singh or Inderbi Singh's human embryology. Okay, so both are equally good. The only advantage of Vishram Singh's embryology textbook is that it has got easy to draw diagrams, so you can easily reproduce those diagrams in your exams, in your university exams. But again, Inderbi Singh's human embryology has got it is also given in a simplified language. That the language is very simple, and you've got flow charts at the end of each and every chapter, which is highly useful during revision for your exams. So Inderbi Singh's and textbook of clinical embryology by Vishram Singh, both are equally good. Both are for only cracking exam. Okay. And again, you also have another Atlas for Human Embryology by Netters. It has also got some good hand-drawn diagrams. Yeah, but if you have these two books itself, this will suffice. For extra edge, you can go for this. Okay, so these were the four books which I would tell you. Apart from these, you also have other books like Larson and all. They also have got good diagrams. Okay, but primarily, if you are a person, just decide your goal. Okay, if you're a person who's studying only for university exam, then I would recommend you to go for either Vishram Singh or Inderbi Singh's. Depends on your personal choice. Okay, for me, Inderbi Singh was sufficient. Okay, I felt it better. But again, Vishram Singh has got very easy diagrams. Okay, studying from practicing diagrams from Inderbi Singh could be difficult at the same time. So keep so just make a note of it and just decide yourself which would suit you better. So coming to the next question, how to study embryology and what to do for university exams, like just 2 months before and you're starting embryology, totally freshly you're starting, then what should you do? Okay, for example, if you've got some time, like if you have allotted some 15 days for embryology, let's say, okay, and that is the first time you're starting off. Then what you do is, firstly you study the chapter once, okay, and just try to understand. For example, if it is a chapter of development of second week, okay, so just study it. What are the key terms involved, like yolk sac, amnion, chorion, what is it, and just have a basic knowledge of it. So study the chapter once and try to get a gross understanding of it. Next, what you do is practice the diagrams. So for example, if you're studying the development of second week, development during second week of development, if you're studying, what you do is, you'll have to, whenever you're studying the text, you should look at the diagram equally. So give importance to diagrams equally. Diagrams alone, if you just look at the diagrams alone, it will suffice for you for university exams, because university exam, they'll ask you hardly, very few questions, right? So yeah, practice diagrams. For diagrams, I would recommend you to follow Vishram Singh. It's really good. It's easy to draw, easy to reproduce during exams. And after having read the chapter once, after having seen all the diagrams, each and every diagram and the stages, then what you do is, remember everything is flowcharts. So when it comes to embryology, you'll have to remember as flowcharts only. That will only make all the concepts very simple, everything clear. All right, so you'll have to remember everything as flowcharts. And for flowcharts, you can either, while studying itself, you can draw your own flowcharts. I did that. Or else you can also refer the one given at the end of each chapter in the BSing. It's also very simplified and it's really great. It is got with a few flowcharts, you've got even the diagrams. Okay, so this is what you should do: study a chapter once, okay, then practice the diagrams, and then what you do, see if you can recollect everything as flowchart. All right, so this is your strategy for university exam. By this, you need not expect anyone to teach for you. You can just self study and just move on. All right.